Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live again. Third time, 2 days. Happy to be here. We're here to discuss what is probably Manchester United's biggest match to date under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's our first Champions League match for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I am ecstatic to actually be able to see us go against some of the top teams in the world with this man in charge. Joining me today, I have not one, but two guests. First off, you guys have seen him before on a NFL stream once before, and we're going to make sure we get him more on these Manchester United shows because he deserves to be on here. The one, the only, Tyler Dunn. Tyler, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. Just, did a live stream on my channel. We are the Busby Boys talking the PSG game match. We had a PSG fan's perspective. So not only did I just spend an hour talking about PSG, I have some great information that we can talk about here on the Red Bearded Red channel. And let's make sure we beat them over the 120, 180 minutes. And let's make sure we do it with style, the Man United way.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. Oh, so George Kyle said hi again, Tyler.
Hey, George.
I know George George is my favorite Ashley Young hater of all time. The oxygen thief that is Ashley Young, as he would say.
There's a lot of contenders.
Okay, that is fair.
Ashley Young got a bird to shit in his mouth. That must have been his favorite peak moment, right?
I mean, that's probably his peak moment for George. I'm going to make that guess right now. But Matthew McFadden, the 6'5" man, built like a toothbrush. How you doing, bro?
Tell you what, I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm going to the game. I got myself a ticket.
And it didn't cost you 350 pounds, right?
No, it didn't. Surprisingly not. But yeah, I've never got into such a massive game being so confident. And I love it.
So, Rory, just so you know, we actually do know that not only Neymar, but Edison Cavani is injured for this match, as well as Meunier, and also possibly Mauro Verratti as well. Which,
Verratti's
there. That right there, I am just like, we have been gifted what is a glorious chance to move on from the round of 16 this year with all of these injuries. And it's something that, regardless of who we're going against, we need to take advantage of who's in front of us, no matter who is in front of us. So, Tyler, you were just on talking about PSG. Let's go ahead, jump right into it. Danger Men, PSG, there's a lot of people missing. Who should we be worried about?
So let's start with it prospectively, right? If you're a PSG fan, at the time of the draw, United had draws, 5 losses with a League Cup defeat against Derby County, 26 points. Well, the things have kind of changed. Momentum has happened. 11 games unbeaten, haven't lost in 2 months. Paul Pogba, he was a virus, but somehow he's on his best goal scoring of his career. Marcus Rashford, one of the best goal scorers of his career. Anthony Martial, new contract, playing at one of the highest levels against a French team. So 2 French players, one with a massive chip on his shoulder being left off the plane last year because of the real virus, Jose Mourinho, basically making sure he didn't make the plane. So now he has that little extra incentive. Paul Pogba, he's the face of French football. 180 minutes against their biggest team, and he's the best player on the park. That will be some added bonus for him as well. So let's talk about the danger man. We have Julian Draxler. We have Angel Di Maria. But the main man, his opportunity, we mentioned 2 French players, Pogba and Martial. But it's Mbappe, right? This is his chance to outshine Paul Pogba. There's no Neymar. There's no Cavani. This is his opportunity. The young 20-year-old, he scored 21 goals in all competition, 3 in the Champions League as well. 18 in Ligue 1. He is the main man. We know about that. But let's talk about the X factor, Julian Draxler, the young German. Obviously, he was in and out before Tuchel. Now he's back in. He's one of the highest regarded players. He was the captain of the 2017 Confederations Cup team for Germany. Jurgen Loh really likes him as well. And in big games, Tuchel has gone to him time and time again. And he could be one of the X factors. But United's former, biggest signing ever, Di Maria. He's coming back to Old Trafford, and maybe he would like to have another big Champions League moment with PSG against Man United. So I would say Di Maria is probably the X factor against United.
And honestly, I did think about Julian Draxler because there was mentions last offseason or last summer where we were mentioned about possibly bringing in Julian Draxler. I remember that he was somebody that people thought could come in, play on the wings for us, and cause problems. Which, by the way, Rory, I of course was going to read this one out because it made me laugh internally. So Rory said the corner flag moves more than Lukaku does during a game, which is very, very real. Very, very real.
It's pretty sad how far a guy who scored over 200 professional goals in his career has fallen in the last 2 months.
Yeah, very, very sad. Very sad. I mean, so Matthew, to you, my friend, Danger Men, PSG. I mean, they're one of the biggest clubs in the world, whether that's from oil baron money or not. They are now one of the biggest clubs in the world. Who are you worried about?
Yeah, they're one of the biggest clubs in the world, but money really doesn't buy atmosphere, and it doesn't buy a winning mentality. It just buys you the best players.
Yep. That's all it does.
So, I've heard that Verratti's coming back for the game. I think he played in the previous game like 60 minutes or something. So if he comes back, then that's one more player getting embarrassed at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mbappe. See, I'm going to get absolute pelters for this in the comments, but Mbappe, in terms of outfield players, third best in the world. Like, the guy's just, like, this Rams called him Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, I've never seen someone so fast on a football pitch ever. And the thing that separates him with the likes of Rashford and all that, is the fact that you give him one chance to the box and he's putting it away.
Mm.
Whereas with other players, they might think too much about it or whatever. And what I find quite funny is the fact that they loaned out Timmy Weah to Celtic in the January transfer window, and now they're without a striker for one of the biggest games of the season.
Yep.
And Timmy Weah's doing absolute bits in Scotland at the moment. Like, he's scoring every single time he comes off the bench. He's turned into a fan favourite already, and it's like 1 month into his loan deal.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. He's only there for 6 months at Celtic, correct?
Yeah, 6 months.
Okay.
Like, normally Celtic take players for like 2 years or whatever, but for some reason this is just 6 months.
Yeah.
But either way, he's doing really good things at Celtic at the moment.
I knew if anybody would do that, it would be my Scottish friend Matthew.
Right. As much as it pains me to say Celtic are doing well, they're doing well. But yeah, there's Di Maria as well. We seem to have a curse with former players coming back to score against us. Like it happened with Mickey in Arsenal, happened most popularly with Danny Welbeck at Arsenal as well, knocking us out of the FA Cup with like a last minute thing. So, if we're going to concede a goal, then I can bet any amount of money it's going to come from the snake himself. And I tell you what, I've got a ticket for the Stretford end, and it's going to be so fun. That entire end just brilliant.
Yep.
It's going to be one of the highlights of the season.
And the crazy thing about Di Maria as well is that he had that inconsistency with United, but man, when we needed some magical moment, Di Maria could pick something out of the top corner. So we could be all over PSG, and the snake himself could just pull out a rabbit out of his ass and put PSG up 1-0 or bring him back within a goal. I mean, that's the kind of caliber he has.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He's woefully inconsistent, but you always do something just mad, like once every couple of games or so. So, yeah, someone that we do need to watch out for. He'd probably playing the right wing or the left wing, considering PSG's absolutely depleted squad.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that he will start this match.
Yeah, I think to not start him would be absolute suicide.
So, I mean,
considering just how many people are in that squad.
In Di Maria, I mean, we could talk about the snake that is Di Maria for ages if we really wanted to, because he had what is the definition of a mixed bag as a career at Manchester United. And granted, he was gone within a year. So, I mean, it's not like he was really given a chance to get better. I mean, I would make the argument that I would probably have given Di Maria more time than I'm giving Alexis Sanchez. I mean,
I also don't think he ever wanted to come. I think he always wanted to go to PSG. I think he always wanted to make that money in Paris, but they were under investigation for the umpteenth time with fair play. So he'd take a little pit stop at United, but we still sold him for what? We only lost, what, £5-6 million on him?
Yeah,
for 1 year. And for a guy that was being played as a right winger, then playing central midfielder under Louis van Gaal. I mean, you take a guy of his talent in a Champions League final, man of the match, and then you play him out of position for half the season. What do you expect? Do you think he wants to stay? And of course, when you want to go to that oil money and they're going to pay you, £1 million a week, I'm not shocked that he left.
Yeah. Matthew?
Yeah, like Di Maria. See, to be fair, I don't think he was. Don't get me wrong, he was per United, but I don't think he was an absolute disaster. Like, he still had moments where he'd get some really important goals and set up some really good goals, like that Mata goal against Liverpool and Wanfield. That's when the sort of term was coined. But I think he was only really regarded as a flop because he left so early. But yeah, it was obvious that he didn't really want to join United. It was just a case of, like, that would be another stepping stone.
Yeah. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I mean, PSG are in the definition of a farmers league. I think that Phoenix Rising could go in there and beat 90% of the teams in the French league. Like, I just don't have any form of rating for the French league. I mean, I think the only other team you can maybe give some credit to at the moment is Lyon, because Monaco are just on another level of bad now ever since selling literally everybody in their team. And we're just seeing what is the fruits of PSG benefiting from having more money than anybody else. And I'm still curious if we will ever see FFP come into play against them or City, because we all know that it's something that is in existence. Where none of us are ignorant to the fact that City and PSG are both teams that are really not making as much money as they actually are, but yet they still have managed to get some of the top players in the world. So, I mean, real quick, I just figured I'd go through see if there's any good comments at the moment. So George Kyle said, if I was PSG, I'd put Mbappe on the left wing for this game, just so he can run at Ashley Young, which, in fairness, I probably would do the same too. Try and expose a weakness, because if you're going to try and attack one of the two sides, I would definitely try and attack Ashley Young's side, because we know Ashley Young will start, and we've seen how he's struggling. But my hope is, and this is what we could talk about, is we got a lot of rest from players in our last match against Fulham. We got to have very critical teams, very critical players in the team have rest. Ashley Young, who is somebody that Ollie rates highly. I mean, we got to see Pogba and Martial come off quickly. Rashford had a full day of rest. I know that Ollie claimed he had an injury, but we all know that injury was he needed to just take a breather. But also getting Ander Herrera off, which was a big thing to do as well. I think that the amount of rest that players got midweek is good. I mean, at the weekend is going to make a big difference at midweek against PSG. I mean, Tyler, to you first. I mean, do you think that there's anybody in particular that them getting the rest at the weekend is going to make a difference for?
I think it was very imperative that you gave Marcus Rashford that rest, right? Because we've always talked about it. Your defense starts with your attack. And when you have Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford pressing the center backs, and against a team that has mental frailties, right? We've seen them. That 6-1 against Barcelona, they are very acceptable to that major mistake. PSG at Naples conceding a penalty and ending up 1-1 against them this season. Going to Anfield and having a lead and conceding late and losing that game with Bobby Firmino scoring. We know they have that lack of mentality to win these big matches and when the moment is against them. So having that energy and having that pressing of Thiago Silva is going to be massive for United to put them on the back foot, because all it takes is an errant pass. We've seen it with the Leicester game. Paul Pogba has one opportunity to play in Marcus Rashford, and he finishes it nice and coolly over the defense. That's what we need, is to have those fresh legs. But obviously Marcus Rashford getting rest and Victor Lindelof, our best center back, being rested ahead of this big game. This is imperative to have those two players, our two most crucial players. Obviously, David Hay is probably one of the most important players, if not the most important player for United. But those two having a break, it's going to be massive for them. They have 180 minutes to showcase why they are Man United players and why they should be here for the next 10 years.
That's a great point there. I mean, Matthew, same question to you.
I probably pretty much exactly agree with Tyler, to be honest.
You know, for me, I do agree with Marcus Rashford, but I think that the other one that was huge to get him rest
Romelu
is a big
Lukaku?
game player that is Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
Jesse Lingard.
That's going to be an important part because there's no chance Mata's going to start in the right wing.
Nope.
It's going to be Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
And we've seen it so many times, despite him not really being the quality of a player who would start week in, week out for a team who wants to win the league. Right now, in our current situation, he's one of the first names in the team sheet, especially in a big game, because he always just seems to have that mentality to turn it on in a big match. He's kind of like a Apache song in a way.
Which, by the way, Statman Doug coming up big with the stat. He said Thomas Tuchel has lost his last 2 trips to England, both at Liverpool, 4-3 with Dortmund, and then 3-2 with PSG. So he said they are there to be beaten, which is 100% true. And then I know before we went on air, he also gave me another stat that in PSG's last 8 trips, he said if he saw the stat correctly, his last 8 trips, or PSG's last 8 trips to England, they've won 1, drawn 3, and lost 4. So I 100% believe that PSG are there to be taken. And you add in the fact that they have so many injuries going into this match. I mean, Matthews, I know you put it out on Twitter that you were calling for a 3-1. At this point now, I could see that happening. I could see something like a 3-1 happening. I'm not saying we should get into the scores right now, but I could see a big score coming because I think that PSG having all the injuries that they have, plus them already not having a good record coming into England, and let's be real, the French League and the Premier League are 2 hugely and massively different things. And the quality that PSG have to play week in, week out is nothing compared to what Manchester United have to play week in and week out. Because I think we can all agree that even Huddersfield would likely beat most of the teams in the French League.
Oh, I think that one's blasphemous. I think Huddersfield Town, they're bad. Maybe Fulham. Maybe Fulham. Fulham's got attacking talent. I don't know about Huddersfield Town. I don't even know if they know how to put the ball in the back of the net.
That's fair. Okay, we'll say it will start at Fulham. We'll start at
Fulham.
But 100%, I believe that PSG are there to be taken. So, I mean, let's go ahead. Let's get into talking about the match a little bit. I mean, but this time, Matthew first. I mean, Matthew, what do you see going on in this match? Do you think that we're going to treat this more like we're going to press high, try and take them early? Or are we going to treat this more like our Arsenal and Tottenham match and try and maybe sit back a little bit further and then hit them fast on the counter?
Despite me not really rating PSG too much in the Champions League, they still are a really good team no matter who they have out. Like, they'll still have Mbappe, they'll still have Draxler, they'll still have Di Maria. I think they've still got Verratti, and actually Munir, I think, is back from injury. I think he played in the last game 2 days ago, so maybe he'll be fit for it. But yeah, like with PSG, looking at their who scored stats, because that's never reliable when you can't really see the games too much on TV. They're averaging like nearly 60% possession. Like, they do like to keep the ball. They're completing about 90% of their passes. So really, they are a team that are probably going to keep most of the possession. However, that is against weak teams.
That's true.
Really taking into account. And one thing that they're very, very prone to is opposition attacks. Like, it's not a case of they'll just keep the ball for the sake of it. It's a case of, or it's not really a case of they'll win it back as soon as they lose the ball. It's a case of once we get the ball, we can really punish them. And with that depleted squad, it's going to be even better. But yeah, like as you said, that 3-1 prediction, I think, I'm not going to say it's nailed on, but if there was any scoreline that I predicted, it would be that.
And honestly, I think that is a fair scoreline to throw out there. And really quick, I do want to say this. Jay Hart said it's all about speed and counter. That's how the English teams always manage to beat other European clubs, because skill-wise, we can't compare to them, which I don't know if I necessarily fully agree with Jay Hart, but I get where you are coming from at the very least, because we don't have the same level of talent that could be brought into Barcelona because of the warm weather. We don't have the same level of talent that could be brought in to Real Madrid because of the warm weather. People want to go play in warm weather cities, and I fully get that. I understand it 100%. But, I mean, so Tyler, same question to you. How do you see us playing this match?
I do want to touch on the technical ability of English football, and I don't think it's unfair about the technical ability in England. Unfortunately, it isn't at the highest quality, but when you look at Spain and you look at Germany, there's more of a reliance to use younger players and go through the systems. And that's why the technical ability by English teams, even if they're at their zenith, the United teams in the mid-2000s, it was pace and counter. That's what we were known for. You have to play with that pace and counter. But for over 2 legs, we're at home for this first leg, so we need to take this initiative, especially with Neymar. He's been known to come back from injuries a little bit quicker than what's been projected. And that team is different in Paris than they are away from home. We mentioned it. They lost against Liverpool away from home. But they've also been known the last couple of seasons to beat Barcelona and Messi 4-0, Bayern Munich 3-0. This is a team that shows up when they get home. So Matthew mentioned a 3-1. We need to go into that second leg with some goal cushion because that will allow us to play that pacey counterattack, which we've seen Pogba been successful with, Jesse, Marcus, Anthony. That's been the catalyst to these bigger score lines for United. If we can go into the second leg 90 minutes just playing counterattacking football, Phil Jones and Ashley Young won't be as big of a liability as they can be in this first leg. Because if we don't go into that second leg with a decent amount of goals, they are going to get an away goal. I think we can all assume they will get an away goal. And they're a different team in Paris, but we need to win that first leg. That is the most important thing. If Ole gets 2 goals, you can bet all the money in the world they will go to the quarterfinals, but they need that extra goal cushion. 2 goals will be enough to see out PSG because 90 minutes of Pogba in France to strut his stuff, playing on the counterattack, that team is much better on the counter than they are when they had to bring it to the bigger opposition.
And that is a fair point, Tyler. That is a very good point. So real quick, I did want to answer Rory's question. So Rory asked, Andrew, would you rather Liverpool win the league or City? And I 100% say City. Liverpool, go away. Don't like you. Sorry.
I could care less which team can win it because let's talk about facts. We're the 20-time champions of England, the only team to win the treble. And there's a picture right there when you're looking at the screen of our manager who scored one of the most famous goals in its competition's history. And those 2 clubs couldn't even touch how great we are in the Champions League and in the Premier League, domestically and abroad. Liverpool could talk about being great, but they were doing it against horrible opposition. We were doing it against some of the best teams to ever play football. Those are just facts.
Those are facts, Tyler, 100%. So I might as well throw out the little bit of a joke question, but real talk at the same time. So Matthew and I have talked about this a few times. So Tyler, let's get your opinion. Neymar, do you think his injury is actually as bad because he's off in Brazil doing his sister somewhere, or is it an actual real injury?
I think it's a little bit of both. Neymar, the Brazilians, I think a lot of people who have ever met Brazilians, they're different kind of people. They enjoy doing some of the old school things like being with your sister. That's just some of the things they like to do. So I think he's on a little R&R with his sister. So he's hurt. Is he hurt or is he injured? I think he's hurt. He's not injured. I think he's just enjoying some time with his sister to make him feel a little better.
Yeah, his sister is giving him some real good rubdowns. Real good rubdowns. We won't get into what kind of rubdowns on this show because I want this channel to stay on YouTube. Hey, I don't want to have to go to Pornhub.
What's not kayfabe, the HJ, if you know what I mean.
So, Matthew, my same question to you. Is it a little bit of both?
I think he's got a very good chance of scoring with his sister and scoring against Man United.
It's probably real. That is probably real.
Let's face it. There's some kind of incest going on.
There's
it has to be. I'm sorry, if you're getting injuries 5 years in a row with your sister's birthday, right? That's weird, but it's not too weird. Like you look at his Instagram, all the pictures are relating to his sister. Some of the stuff that he comments, the fact that they're too close for siblings, and the fact that they've got tattoos of each other on their arms. I mean, just get a feel of that rubbish.
Salt has been one of the best comments I've ever seen. Matthew, we all know that family comes first.
I mean, it quite literally does with Neymar.
Literally.
Tyler, I know you've seen the picture where his sister is hanging on to his chain in the Catwoman outfit or whatever while he's the Joker.
I don't judge another man for the things he might want to do with his sister, but come on. You're one of the richest people in the world. I think you could find something a little bit better than your sister. Just putting it out there.
Just throwing it out there.
There's a billion fish in the sea, but Neymar's only got eyes for one.
He's going full on Tywin Lannister. I mean, not Tywin Lannister. Jamie Lannister. Sorry, going full on Jamie Lannister. You know what? More power to him. If you're cool with it, do you, boo boo? Because I'm not. But to each their own, I guess. But let's go ahead. Let's jump a little bit further into this because we don't need to talk about this all day. Guys, Manchester United. We have a history of doing well in the Champions League. We don't necessarily always make it to the end, but recent times under Mourinho, we had 1 year in the Champions League and we got locked out in the round of 16 to Sevilla. And it was that was the turning point for a lot of people after that match last year where we sat back in both legs and did nothing to try and stop them. I mean, Tyler, do you think that our fortunes will be different going into this leg? I mean, considering the fact that we have the one and only Ole Gunnar Solskjaer here.
So, Jose Mourinho, you mentioned it. He did worse than our guy, David Moyes, did in the Champions League. And David only had one crack at it, and he made it to a quarterfinal. Jose Mourinho against Sevilla couldn't even get past the first round of the knockout stage. These players, they got the experience. They've won the Europa League, and I think people got to take that into account. They've gone through the European knockout stage, got all the way to the end, beat Ajax, got to lift up the one European trophy we never won. I do think we do have that experience level of winning a European Cup, which is very important as well. But with Ole, he's bringing this different swagger. 11 games unbeaten, ladies and gentlemen. More Premier League wins, beating teams in the Championship in a cup competition, and he rotated his team. Who knew? And he threw out Romelu Lukaku out there, and he got a result as well. It's crazy what things can happen. 2 months ago, we lose to Liverpool. It's a shitty situation. 2 months later, 11 unbeaten, 8 wins in the Premier League, into the 5th round of the FA Cup, in the round of 16. Possibly favorites in the tie with a team with Neymar and Cavani and Mbappe. If you would have said that 2 months ago to a United fan, they would have said, hey, what do you got? What you selling? How much is it? Because they wouldn't have believed you. But some of us here, we drink the Kool-Aid. And, I'm a United guy. Even if Jose Mourinho, which was an awful appointment when you look at it hindsight, we wanted him to succeed. He just couldn't do it. Ole's brought positivity. He's brought an aura of respect. And people can look at him, and we mentioned it with your picture. You know what he's done. He's been the guy that's been on the bench, and when he got his opportunity, he took his chance. Anthony Martial, he's taken his chance. Marcus Rashford, he's taken his chance. Paul Pogba, he's came back in after being benched against Liverpool. He's came back in. He's flourished. Every player's taken the chance they've been given, and that's the difference, is that there's this camaraderie feeling. There's this aura that United, it is our divine right to be champions. And we have that right back, and we've been winning, and we've been doing it at a rate that's scaring the Arsenal, scaring the Chelseas. Liverpool's going to be looking over their shoulder next season. City will be looking over their shoulder. And obviously Spurs, they think they're 9 points clear in the Premier League. 9 points is very makeable up. When we were 11 points behind Arsenal, now we're 1 point ahead of them. We can make up gaps. And with a manager like Ole, who is at the wheel, how can you not think they can get the result and get to the quarterfinal of the Champions League?
Yeah, very, very well put, Tyler. I mean, Matthew, same question to you.
After hearing all that, I've completely forgotten the question. I'm not going to lie.
Tyler got you right, didn't he?
He did.
That's why we bring Tyler on the show. Tyler is one of the best hype men in the game. We know it to be fact. So, Matthew, the question was, with our fortunes under Mourinho last year, round of 16 against Sevilla. But we have a history as Manchester United of tending to do well in the Champions League. We may not make it to the final every year, but we tend to at least make it to the quarters, like semis, almost every single year we're in the Champions League. But recent history would say that we will likely struggle I mean, do you think our fortunes will be different with the one and only Ole Gunnar Solskjaer under the wheel?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even say post Moyes, because David Moyes got to Champions League quarter-final. I think he was one goal away from getting to the semis past Bayern Munich, after Thomas Muller scored about 2 seconds later after Produce Eber.
Yeah.
Scored what was one of the goals of the century. But yeah, since then we've flopped. We've either been in the Europa League, or we've just flopped big time in the Champions League. But yeah, there's 3 words. There's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and that is the complete difference. If there's anyone who knows about doing a Champions League run, it's him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, in terms of will our fortunes be different, 100%.
And honestly, I'm buying into the hype right now. I am thinking we will make it at least to the quarterfinals right now with Ole. And let me tell you what, you want to talk about the dream of dreams? Imagine Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his intermediate tenure manages to take us to the Champions League final. I mean, you couldn't even write movies that good. Like, genuinely, you could not. But real quick, guys, that's true. That is true. I mean, but there is one other thing I wanted to talk about, and it's going to kind of play into the fact that we're going to start getting into our 11s here. But we did see both Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly rested at the weekend. Do you think that both of those men will be starting against PSG? Matthew, to you first.
I don't want to be generic and just go for like the same starting 11, but I just think it's going to be the same team that we've seen so often under Ole, because why change it?
So you think Phil Jones will be out there?
Oh no, Phil Jones won't be there. It'll be Eric Bailly and Lindelof.
Okay, you know what? I like hearing that, but let me tell you what. I mean, there is one thing that I personally would do, because I think that he would be better served against a team like PSG to hit a team on the counter, and that would be to play Delot at the right back spot. I know he's young, I know he's inexperienced, but talk about a game to say, all right, kid, go out there and go do your thing. No better time to do it. But Tyler, same question to you.
Phil Jones, he's starting. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Ole likes him. You know, he can trust him. Eric Bailly, he has a bit of the rashness in him. And PSG is known for getting yellow cards. They have been known to having players that can be a little reckless with the challenge. And Eric Bailly has proven the last couple of seasons, minus his first year, that he can go in for a challenge. He's not afraid to put a boot into somebody. And I think Phil Jones has brought this, this extremely different perspective to Ole. He can trust him. And we know that he is the best. If you're a neutral Premier League fan, you turn on Phil Jones, you can either see one of the best defenders in the league, or you could see, a League 4, a League 2 defender, 4th division defender. I mean, he has that instinct of having a really good moment, and he's been known to having been prone to making silly mistakes. FA Cup final last season, he's been prone to it, but Ole trusts him. Ole's gone with it. I think he's going to stay with the same team. You mentioned Dalot. He's played in the Champions League before. He did it against Liverpool with Porto last season. He has that veteran leadership. He's respected by his teammates. And I think Ole's going to go with some veteran leadership. If you can have Ashley Young or Antonio Valencia, give me Ashley Young every single day of the week and twice on Sunday. His crosses may be shit, but at least Ashley Young can at least hit somebody once out of every 10 crosses. Antonio Valencia, he can cross and cross and cross and step over and play it back in the middle of the park and do nothing. So there's that. Those could be the two things we could have in veteran leadership at that right back position. Give me Ashley Young twice on Sunday.
You know what? And that's a fantastic point, Tyler. I mean, listen, whether we like it or not, we all know that Ashley Young will start. But I do have the question of whether Eric Bailly will be starting in this match. I do think that there is the possibility that we could see him play. For how well him and Victor Lindelof paired in that last match, there is the possibility that it will be there. If I was to be putting a bet on, I would put my bet that we are going to get the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 11 that we all think is going to be run out there. I think it's going to be the pretty much standard, and that will be minus Bailly. As unfortunate as it is, it's the truth. And by the way, Tony Nova, I did see you say hi a little bit earlier. Good to see you. So real quick, I did want to read this from Doug. He said Neymar is injured because he won the Fallon de Flor Award. So, that That is likely true. That is definitely likely true. We're not going to give confirmation because I don't want to get sued by somebody that has more money than me. But in all seriousness, guys, Neymar can do whatever he wants. He's a grown man, and you know what? I'll say this: his sister's kind of hot. I mean, in fairness, I mean, I'm not going to fault the man for doing somebody that's hot, but it is his sister, so that's a little weird. Yikes, guys! Let's go ahead. Let's get into our starting 11s. How do you guys project Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will run out his 11? We'll go to Tyler on this one first.
I think we're going to see what we've seen. We've seen the Ole XI, as you've dubbed it. You know what? It's gotten results. He's gone to Arsenal. They made it a dance floor, and we've done it against Spurs as well, away from home. And it's been a team that gets results, as we know. Last 9 games, they have a plus 16 goal differential, and that is impressive in itself as well in the Premier League. So I want to see more of the same consistency with something Jose Mourinho did not have. It was always, we got to stop their best player. Ole says, you stop us. We don't stop you. And I think he's going to go to that best XI. He has faith in that team. They've paid that faith back, and they've done it by 10. And I mean, this is what happens. This was a team full with talent, and we talked about it under Mourinho. Why aren't we getting enough out of it? We've seen with a manager that has gotten those extra 5-10% out of these players, and we're seeing what heights we can hit. And I think we're going to see the same team. I'd love to see Mata play, but unfortunately for him, I don't think he will be playing in this leg. Maybe possibly in the second leg with a 2-goal cushion. We could see Juan Mata being played on that right wing, picking out passes. Possibly, probably not. But unfortunately, the Alexis Sanchez, Romelu Lukaku, Juan Matas of the world, they just don't have the pace. They don't have the form. And when we play this certain style, they don't have the speed to hit them on the counterattack quickly enough. And those 3, -1, won't say it, doesn't have the technical ability to be successful against a team whose main objective is to win the Champions League. So obviously, those 3 won't be in it. But stick with the Ole XI. We've seen what it's done. 11 games unbeaten. A lot of those games, the majority of those games, probably 90%, have been the same team. And let's keep it going. Ole at the wheel. Let's get a 3-1 win.
I love it, Tyler. I love it. So, I mean, Matthew, I'm going to guess you're probably going to go with the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. And, well, I think the back 4, the only really sort of issue there would be Jones ahead of Bain. But to be honest, I think with how big Eric's been recently, I think it would be absolute suicide dropping him, especially for a guy like Phil Jones, who we all know in a big game just doesn't perform whatsoever. What I compare him to is like, see when you're playing FIFA and you're defending and you take control of one of your centre backs and you just run forward with them when trying to defend. It's like that. He looks like a headless chicken when trying to defend. So I'd just go with the.
I mean, it's crazy. And it's like Matthew mentioned, Phil Jones in that Newcastle game, right? That Newcastle game, he has this moment where he almost gives the ball to Newcastle, and then somehow he runs back 10 yards and he makes a challenge that only some of the best defenders in the world will make, and he times it perfectly. So there's one moment where you're like, holy shit, he's bad. And then there's another moment where you're like, holy shit, I don't understand why Sir Alex is the greatest player in our history. He's the best. He's the best center back any neutral can have. You turn a United game on, you see Phil Jones, you're going to get a funny face. You're going to get a moment where you're like, ugh, he's a United player. And then you're like, holy shit, that's why he's a United player. He's the most up-and-down player that I've seen play for United in the past 10 years.
Yeah, that's way too real.
Guaranteed any quality with him, but you're guaranteed some spicy memes when he plays. Like, you can always guarantee that. But yeah, personally, I'd start Bailey over Jones. I start Luke Shaw left back, and I would start Dalot right back, but I think he's going to go with Ashley Young, unfortunately. And if Thomas Tuchel was to be smart, then you play Mbappe in the left wing and just absolutely torture Ashley Young for 90 minutes, but I don't think he will do. Midfield speaks for itself, Matic, and Herrera and Pogba. And then the front 3 is, again, speaks for itself again. Jesse Lingard, he loves a big game. Marcus Rashford on form of his life, and Anthony Martial has to play after that absolute one to go against Fulham.
Yes.
So yeah, just a general Ole. And it's so good actually seeing a consistent lineup, maybe barring 1 or 2 players, but having that consistency in the team selection is just what we need at the moment.
And you know what? Honestly, I totally agree. I think the consistency has been one of the best things that we have seen under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He has his 11, he knows his 11, and he goes with it. Like and we aren't seeing, because I'm pretty sure that like if I was to really go back, I do not think that there was one game that had the same lineup back to back, other than the very first game of the year to the second game of the year. I think those are the only two games we got the same back-to-back lineups. But after that, it was chop and change under Mourinho. We have seen,
yeah.
We have seen pretty much the same 11.
He never picked a consistent team over those 2.5 years. If you were to ask the United fan, what's United's best 11? What do you think Jose Mourinho's best 11? You could ask 10 United fans and get 10 different answers. That's how it was.
Yeah, that's way too real.
And there's a reason why they have 26 points after 17 matches, because you're dropping your best player, then you play your best player, then you drop your most informed player, and then you bring him back in, and then you play a piano man who can't even hit the back of the net. And there's just a lot of things going on. And then you play Lukaku at center forward, and he's out of form, and he can't hit. He can't even trap he can't trap a football. He couldn't even trap a bag of cement if he tried.
No. As unfortunate as it is, you're right. Real quick, guys, if you want to have your starting 11s read out, I'm pretty sure that we're all going to pretty much agree, other than maybe 1-2 spots. Saban did say De Gea, Bailly, Lindelof, Young, Shaw, Matic, Herrera, Pogba, Rashford, and Lingard for the PSG game. George Kyle did say we're going to go with a 4-3-3. He said same exact as Saban's. Let's see here. Rory said De Gea, Delo, Bailly, Lindelof, Shaw, Herrera, Pogba, Matic, Martial, Rashford, Lingard, which that is my ideal lineup, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the lineup I think Ollie will play. And then I do not see anybody else, because I think that everybody else is pretty much going to agree with what is the other two lineups. So there is one other matchup that I need to talk about for this one, because I know for a fact that Dani Alves will be on that right-hand side, and he is going to have that beautiful man, Tony Martial, running at him on that left-hand side. That is possibly the matchup we need to exploit throughout this entire two-leg fixture. I mean, Tyler, do you agree with that?
I do agree. I think the left-hand side has been our most successful side to attack all season. In PSG, there's a lot of injuries back there. But, Thomas Tuchel, he does like to chop and change. We talked about it before he even went live, that during his Dortmund days, he wasn't afraid to play players out of position. Would you be completely shocked if he went and did a Jose Mourinho and he went 3 at the back, or put 5 at the back, as people would say, with the wing backs, and just try to, hey, we don't have the pieces to be very successful away from home. We can play counterattacking football. So maybe that's something that we need to see. We need to play very quickly. But I do agree with you. We need to attack on that left-hand side. Pogba's over there. Martial's over there. Rashford links up over there. If there's going to be some success, we're going to have to go down that left-hand side, because that's the key to our success, because our left side is so much better than the right. And I like Jesse Lingard, but he doesn't naturally play a right wing position. He kind of buzzes into the middle like Juan Mata. The only difference is that he's got pace and he's got a little flair to the goal.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what we need. I think that between Martial and Rashford, those two guys, because they both can attack from that left-hand side very, very well, they are going to have Dani Alves on skates all game. I mean, Matthew, do you agree?
100%. I think come Tuesday night, Dani Alves will realise that he's not the right back that he once was. And he joined PSG purely for the money. He's got all that experience of Champions Leagues. He's won it numerous times. I think he's won it twice or 3 times in total with Barcelona. Got to another final with Juventus. But the guy's like 35 now. His pace he's got no pace anymore. And with the absolute mad run of form that Martial and I've got his name there, Rashford, is the run of form that they're on. It's just going to be too much for PSG's defence. I think Thiago Silva as well was touted as one of the best centre-backs in the world. But I mean, you're playing in a PSG team who dominate the league every single year. And he's in his mid-30s as well. So I think he will get a bit of a shock. I think that's the main thing about PSG. they always get like a bit of a shock when it comes to the Champions League. Like we saw against Barcelona, where they were 4-0 up in the first leg and then bottled it 6-1.
Yeah. Yep. That is one of the most iconic things I think we will ever.
And I think the thing about PSG is that they are so good, but when they play against teams that can attack very quickly, their only loss in league play was against Lyon, which saw Memphis and Fekir just kind of link up and be quick, and Cormet, and it was just a quick attack. Liverpool, same way, quick in the attack, and also Napoli also brought that same intensity. If you go after them quickly, there's opportunities to open up that defense. And we mentioned Thiago Silva, one of the best center backs in the world, but man, he's been a GOAT when it comes to these big matches. He's always at the center of these horrible performances for club and country.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, you are 100%. Oh, Tyler is muted right now. Tyler?
I'm not the only one who does it. Get in.
Tyler, for some reason, I'm trying to get you back.
You can't see me?
There we go. Now you're back. Live TV.
We don't plan it, folks. We don't put it in the can. This is all live, baby, in living color.
Like, listen. By the way, guys, we go ahead and unblock him. But just time him out, guys. We always respect our guests. If you don't respect my guests, you will be hidden. 100%, you will be hidden. I will not have any disrespect on this show. We respect everybody because that is what life is about. It's about respecting our fellow man. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter what they are. We respect all opinion and everything on this show. So just wanted to get that out there. But real quick, I guess the other thing I did want to talk about is the fact that, you know what? I don't even need to talk about it because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is at the wheel, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the best feeling in the world. That is the best feeling in the world right now. We have been undefeated in 11 straight matches. I mean, you talk about the last time that this happened. I mean, it was just a whole bunch of draws and a few wins coming for Mourinho. And we've won 10 out of 11 with Ollie in charge. I don't think there's a better feeling than that. I mean, Tyler, can you agree?
No, it's been a tremendous 2 months, and hopefully Ole gets the deserved contract that he deserves. He's gotten us into fourth place. We're hunting Spurs, and anything he does in the Champions League, obviously we want to win at home. We want to put a great performance away from home at the Parc des Princes as well. This is his moment to shine. This is his biggest test today, and everything's been pretty smooth sailing. Now it's our time to finally be the Man United we expect, and against the biggest team in France, it's time to slay the dragon and go into the quarterfinals.
Yes, 100%. Matthew, that's kind of the final question. Same to you?
I think I'd agree as well. I think this game's just going to be a standard win, really. Like, we can talk so much about PSG being this really good team, but they're not. They're just not.
They play in the French league, which, by the way, so David Mwamba, I think that you're speaking French, and I'm sorry, I do not know how to speak French. If you speak English, I'd be happy to try and read what you're saying. So David is going with a 2-1 against United. I think that David is likely a PSG fan, which, hey, more power to you. I'm happy to have all fans from throughout the world on here because that's what this channel is about. It's about having people's opinions heard, and we want people to be able to, share a sporting experience like this. This is probably, if not the biggest, one of the biggest matches of the Champions League in this fixture, in this first set. I'm excited for this matchup. Probably more excited for this matchup than any other matchup that we're going to see throughout. So, final question, Tyler, score. Give it to me.
You know what? I predicted it on my channel. We are the Busby Boys. 3-1. I'm going with it. They don't have Cavani. They don't have Neymar. There's an opportunity. We have momentum on our side. Our best players are playing like they're Rolls Royces are playing at this high level. And confidence is the most important thing. In PSG, they might have Buffon in net. They will have Thiago Silva. They will have these great players on display. But this is United's time with a younger team to show that youth and exuberance sometimes can outclass experience. And this is our opportunity to take this game, take it to them. Ole at the wheel. He's going to get the result. And let me tell you, we're going to spend 1 month talking about United. What do they got to do in the second leg to get to the quarterfinal? And I guarantee you, he's going to get the job done. And there's going to be a lot of United fans out there that are just going to be hoping, praying to Woody Boy, get the contract, sign him up, give him the 6-year deal, because Moisey didn't deserve it, Mourinho didn't deserve it, Van Gaal didn't deserve it, but Ole's came in 11 games unbeaten. Let's make it 12 on Tuesday.
Amen to that, brother. Which, by the way, David, hello to you as well. David did say hello from France. It's good to have you here, man. We like I said, we welcome all fans from all walks of life. We don't care who you're a fan of. We want you here on the Red Bearded Red channel. So, Matthew, same question to you, bro.
I'm just going to completely echo Tyler here and say 3-1.
Oh, man. I'm hearing an echo.
And are you?
No, not really. Not really. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm tired today. Shut up. I'm just too tired today. I genuinely thought at that time, as shit as their actual echo. It's not my finest moment. Not my finest moment in channel. But let's just move on from that. Yeah, 3-1. 3-1, 100%.
You know what?
Like,
and not that I want to continue the echo, but I am going to go 3-1 as well. I'm going to say that 100% Pogba will score against PSG. And David, I am actually going to echo what you said. I do think that Mbappe will score in this first leg, because I think that there will be a point where he will be over on that left-hand side. And I think that he is going to skin Ashley Young so bad that it's going to just make us question whether he should ever play for Manchester United again. But I think that 3-1, I think we're going to get a big win, and getting that 3-1 victory going into the tie against PSG in that second leg in their home stadium, where, much like Tyler said, they do play very well at home. That is going to be huge. Having a 2-goal differential going into that matchup, it will be crucial for that. So I really quick wanted to say, if you guys want to have your score predictions read out, get them in now. I will be sure to read them for you. So I know for a fact I saw Dan Jones say 2-0. Saban said 2-0. Nestor said 2-0. We've got George Kyle saying 3-1 for him as well. Jay Hart said he's putting a bet on Rashford scoring, which I think that's a pretty good bet as well.
You know what? I wouldn't be shocked if somehow Luke Shaw scored a goal in this game. It just seems like one of these games where someone that doesn't pop up with a goal that often kind of sneaks one in. Like, and imagine Matic. I could see him hit one of those thunder bastards into the corner.
You know what? I would love to see that as well, Tyler. I do think that we will get a random scorer, like, at some point in this tie.
Like
Lukaku at home, but I think that we will see somebody random score. Somebody's calling Young to packet Mbappe. We can only wish, Saban. We can only wish.
He did it against Salah. Wouldn't be surprising, though.
Let's see here. So we've got I didn't see anybody else. Hey, George Lord. Bye. That's all I'm going to say. Goodbye. You're a horrible human being, and you don't deserve to be on any channel, and I'll make sure that you're now banned on the United stand as well. So congratulations on that. Let's see here. So David said, okay, Manchester win the first match in Old Trafford, and PSG will win in Paris. And so, you know what? Honestly, I could see
that happening too.
Yeah, but I do think that on aggregate, Manchester United will go through. I do think that Manchester United will go through. So, but George, it's pretty sad because I gave you a chance. I gave you a chance to come back, And unfortunately, some people just don't know how to take the hint. But Matthew, thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that because I didn't even get the chance to see it before it was gone.
No worries. Had a history with him.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure to block him on Twitter as well because stuff like that, and Tyler, we'll talk about it off air, but that stuff like that does not need to be said ever, ever, ever. So Doug is saying 3-2, which Doug, my favorite Liverpool fan, Statman Doug, saying 3-2.
Least hated.
Okay, that's fair. Well, once again, we have to go
Right.
least hated Liverpool fan. He said 3-2 to United. He's Mr. Exclusive saying we're going to rock PSG in both legs. That would be amazing to see. But guys, let's go ahead. Let's wrap this up. Tyler, thank you for joining me, my friend. Anything you want to shout out?
Hey, guys, just make sure you guys keep on subscribing here, Red Bearded Red. Andrew is a credit to not only talking about Man United, but other sports as well. He's a tremendous guy. He's got this great energy. He's infectious, and you're just such a great host. And we appreciate when you come over to the We Are the Busby Boys channel and you chat United as well. It's great to talk with you, Matt, 6'5" and built like a toothbrush. Nothing wrong with that. It was great chatting with you guys. If you guys want to roll over, I work for a site with Wayne S. Barton. You've seen the new documentary, Too Good to Go Down. He will be doing a podcast with former Man United defender Paul Parker on Monday. You can check that out. He's going to be discussing the Fulham match with Paul, which was the guy who was in front of Gary Neville in the team before Gary Neville was displaced by. So it'll be very fun. You can hear Wayne Barton. You can hear all of us over there as well, including our friend Andrew Southwick. And once again, Andrew, thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Not a problem, Tyler. Always happy to have you and always happy to join you on We Are the Busby's Boys as well. You guys put out consistently good content. And I could say this for a fact. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things. I haven't had the chance to see the documentary yet, but I've heard nothing but great things about Wayne Barton's documentary. So you know what, Matthew? I hear that you make something. They may or may not be on my walls. I figure you might want to talk about them.
So I'm getting a bit of echo there. So yeah, on Tuesday I'll be at Old Trafford, and recently I got 200 business cards printed off, and you're damn right I'm going to scatter them all around Manchester. It's tactical littering at its finest. I'm going to stick them to every lamppost. I'm going to stick them on people. All to get that name out. But yeah, check out offsidegraphics.com. Get yourself a poster if you haven't already. If you're interested, that is. I'm not going to force you, but if you do so, then you'll love you forever. But yeah, thanks for having me on again, and hopefully we'll do the job in PSG. And hopefully the review stream is going to be as good, if not even better than this one.
You know what, Matthew? By the way, I needed to say this. Your Victor Lindelof poster you made, absolutely spot on, world class. I love it.
I got a sale literally 5 minutes after I put it up, which is quite nice.
That's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. Which, by the way, Tyler, I think I might have a Christmas gift for you here soon. Maybe a late Christmas gift, but I think you do need to get one.
Hopefully, it's not that number 10 guy up there because he's dead to me.
No, come on. We can't blame the guy.
No, we can't blame him. He's a mercenary. He went to Abramovich and the Russians. Not the first American to go for a Russian. So.
Oh man, we're throwing all the shade out here. I love it. Which, by the way, Lorenzo, I did see that you just subscribed. I popped up in my top right corner. So first of all, welcome to the show. I'm sad that you kind of caught in a little bit late, but I did want to read out your comment here since you are new. He said, "I think now United has the chance needed to gain the draw against PSG. If PSG has has their entire players, I think there isn't a game. PSG is far, far better. Recommending you so basically saying how good Neymar, Mbappe, and Cavani are together. Absolutely unstoppable. Which, you know what? I don't necessarily disagree with you that if they had their full attacking lineup, that I do think that we would be in for a little bit more trouble. But at the moment, they do not. At the moment, they do not, and we have to take advantage of that tie. And now we have to come out of this at least the first game with a win. We at least have to come out of that first game with a win. But thank you to my guest, Tyler. Just genuinely thank you. You're a good friend. honestly, I do not know very many people in this world that have as much football knowledge as you, and that's a huge credit coming that you are an American, and people need to take note of that us Americans know a lot more about this game than they want to try and give us credit for at times. And Matthew, you know I love you, bro.
I don't know many people in this world in general, to be fair.
Hey,
that many people with football knowledge.
That's you know what? That's fair. I mean, I think I know like 2. So, I mean, Tyler's one of them. I guess, maybe we'll credit a couple of people that have been on this show. I mean, maybe they know a couple of things. I mean, maybe. But no, and Alex Turley, yes, we did talk about the fact that there's no Namor Cavani in the first leg. But you know what? We wrap it up. And ladies and gentlemen, I really do hope that you have a great rest of your weekend. I know there's not much of it, but I hope that you have a good night, a good day, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. Keep doing you, because I love you guys, and you guys are awesome. Have a good rest of your day.